And the subject for my presentation today is the sustainability reporting and sustainable financing. Environment is one part of the pillars of sustainability. And in this presentation, we're going to see environmental and the other two pillars, which is the social and the governance. Just a very short introduction of PwC, which I guess everybody knows. We are quite a big company worldwide. We have around 721 locations with 250,000 people. On the sustainability side, we're very proud to have 700 people working on close to the governments and to create a climate and carbon policy. We do have a wide range of businesses, and we try to help the regulators to come up with new policies and advise companies how to do their greenhouse gas strategies. For that reason, we have to align with many NGOs, I would say, and other international associations. And in Greece, we are happy to also have the Center of Excellence for Maritime Sustainability. We are a team of marine experts, both on the technical side and on the policy side. The service we offer is, of course, environmental compliance. We're very strong on monitoring, reporting, and verification, IMO, DCS, and all the environmental regulations. With regards to the greenhouse gases, we help the companies to create a strategy around greenhouse gases. We do performance monitoring, either manually or with sensors if the fleets have. We help them with a sustainability strategy. We do reporting, we do assurance and audit. And of course, we also help on the corporate governance and ethical strategy of the company, as well as sustainable financing, which I will explain later. We're going to talk about sustainability reporting, and particularly on the pillars environmental, social, and governance. Now, when we have greenhouse gas regulations, there are many concerns to the investors, and that means basically that the investors are asking questions, including, of course, the businesses, whether and how this is going to impact the low-carbon, future low-carbon, let's say, the decarbonization of the industry will impact the services of the company, whether the supply chain is going to be impacted, and what will be the financial implications, let's say, with this type of regulations. It is true, because of this 2050 very aggressive targets, we're expecting the investors are going to scrutinize particularly the shipping industry, in order to, see whether there are some climate change risks there. So what we see is investors are looking more heavily, particularly for the industries that they actually use fossil fuels, and they're trying to understand what is the impact on of the climate change in the business strategies. And they're concerned about the resilience of the business. And we recently have many banks actually have more even concerns about whether the vessels as they are now can be chartered, and whether the profitability is going to be affected, and therefore they're going to have a credit default risk. So when it comes to the ESG reporting, we are talking about a report, a non-financial report. So companies have financial reports, and they have the non-financial report. The non-financial report includes environmental, social, and corporate governance parameters. And the reason of having something like that is to actually show to the stakeholders what is the business strategy, how resilient it is, how the company actually addresses all these risks. And for sure, these ESG parameters are measurable, and they may actually have some financial consequences. ESG reporting is some kind of a communication report, just like the financial report. So it's between the stakeholders and the company. And when we talk about stakeholders, we don't talk only about shareholders. We usually have as stakeholders the clients, the employees, the industry, the ports, the NGOs, the governments, the academia, of course the financial institutions, and the media, the stock exchanges. So we are talking about a reporting that somebody would like to actually read to understand what is happening within the company. the benefits that somebody can have if actually reports environmental, social, and governance parameters. It will have access to capital. We see that more transparency and effective management actually attract long-term investments. On profitability and growth, because you can identify new opportunities, you can bring innovation to your company, and therefore you can improve the accountability towards the stakeholders. The reputation and branding, you demonstrate basically that you are committed, you're transparent, you're responsible, you listen to your stakeholders, and whatever they say, basically you incorporate it within your strategy. And of course, compliance risk management. You have basically a license to operate. You take into consideration all the reporting requirements and information, and you are able to sort of incorporate it within the financial reporting. So you will see investors having financial reports and non-financial reporting, trying to actually see what is the balance. So many people ask me, what is a non-financial reporting, what's sustainability reporting, or ESG reporting? And when we talk about the environment, investors or stakeholders are expecting to see greenhouse gas emission strategy, energy usage, the water usage, environmental operations, innovation, the management view about the climate change strategy, and any type of risk mitigation. And the social, the government, the social is more about the employees and the community contribution that the company has. And of course, the health and safety, how well you treat your crew, your employees. And on the governance side, it's more like about ethical management, the anti-corruption, the supplier code of conduct, and many other parameters. I'll just listed some of them. Now, shipping actually addresses most of this, and it's very surprising to actually see that the shipping prefers to become kind of an invisible sort of industry. So for a very strange reason that we don't see many sustainability reports, we don't see many ESG reports, even for the listed companies. However, I just wanted to show you something that I took from Maersk that has been actually reporting the ESGs for many years. And this is one of the quotes that I captured from their CSR report, which basically they reveal their strategy with regards to the innovation, how much they have actually spent, how serious they take the climate change, and therefore an investor will feel much more relieved when it actually sees that somehow they have spent a lot of money in order to mitigate the risk of climate change. So we will touch upon the sustainable financing or responsible investment, as we actually said. And what we see is there are a lot of increasing focus from investors on responsible investments. That means that their investment portfolio will have to include ESG parameters. So when an investor or when a financial institution is going to invest and to actually offer a loan, let's say, they will take into consideration the ESG parameters and the ESG reporting, because they have been obliged by regulations to actually take this either as a risk or as an opportunity within the selection of the portfolio. And here we have a European Commission coming with another regulation that has to do with sustainable financing. And what the European Commission has decided, and we're expecting next year to be enforced, is that to sort of connect the sustainability and finance, and they're going to amend all the financial regulations and the standards and policies they have, including, let's say, the very well-known MiFID or the Basel, and we will include the sustainability parameters and aspects. So we're expecting the financial industry to actually give much more focus on ESGs than before, and that will be one of the criteria to actually select or to decline a loan. Some of the products that we may actually see coming very quickly is the bonds, for instance, or the green bonds. So we will see that they're going to be a lot of effect on the investment products, and it will be either directly or indirectly. As I said, there are going to be a lot of new obligations to consider the ESG part of the risk assessment. And we're expecting that the industry, the financial industry, is going to be affected, the investment decision will be affected across a different type of financial institutions, which means that private equity, the asset management, the banking industry, the investors, and so on. That's why actually EIB, the European Investment Bank, was the pioneer in starting investing in ESG, and actually their aim is to give some kind of incentive to the ship owners in order to change the way they operate. And what they have in their mind is that they think that the sustainability is going to transform the way that shipping operates at the moment. And it's going to bring, of course, a positive impact into the environment, but at the same time, it's going to look into new designs, new digital technologies, it's going to embrace other technologies. And so that will actually change the business model of shipping. And this is what EIB has in their mind, in its mind, when actually investing in sustainable shipping. And just a few examples. First of all, the EIB has signed this $750 million agreement with Société Générale, ABN AMRO, and ING. So we see an action of collaboration with the main banks. And they have started already investing. So we probably know about the Brittany ferries with 3 cement carrier vessels to support the green investments on the European shipping market. And they have, I think, offered 300 million euros. And we have green loans, and which, not only we have a green loan, but we also have a green loan principles. And that's another thing that actually giving us a great understanding that, soon we're going to see that the banks actually are requesting more and more, investments into green shipping. Unfortunately, we haven't seen something like that in Greece. We hope, however, that soon the EIB will be able to actually support the Greek industry, the Greek shipping industry as well. And before ending, I just want to summarize and some actions that companies need to take into consideration. They need to develop their strategy around the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. Of course, they can explore the MBMs. We're expecting from IMO to see whether there will be a sort of market-based measure, or whether there be a speed limit, and we will see that. And the other thing, but I don't have it and I can't actually see it. The other thing is that companies need to actually collaborate with the stakeholders, mainly we will say with ports. So Tiris Raptis actually explained that there is a lot of infrastructure taking place with regards to investments from the European Commission in order to be able to say the new technologies that the shipping industry will embrace to be able to implement it along, of course, with the right infrastructure. And the last thing is that they need to be much more visible. They need to start actually reducing these ESG reports. That they need to start communicating more with the stakeholders, the industry. They need to be much more transparent. They need to start actually revealing their strategy in order the investors to trust them and actually support them. And thank you very much for this. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.